Hello, my name's Shalise. Welcome now, everybody, to my original Season 5 rant review, and this is what I'm going to rant about, everybody. I believe the original Season 5 is not only the worst season of the originals, but the worst season of the Vampire Diaries and original shows combined. This season, like the final Vampire Diaries season, was very inconsistent, breaks lore, and this season was atrocious. This was basically a fan fiction. To me, original Season 4 was the final end of the originals. This Season 5 is like a mad person's diary of what happened after Season 5, like a fan fiction if Season 5 never occurred. Now, I'm going to dissect this entire series, this entire season. Let's do a recap. At the beginning, after the original Season 4, all the Mikaelsons are separated because the Hollows enter each one of them. The Hollows enter each of the Mikaelsons, and they cannot see each other. And from episode 1 to 6, it's all about who took Hayley, who took Hope Mikaelson's mother. And during this time, Klaus is lured back into the city, and he's trying to figure out who took Hayley. And in episode 2, we realize it's Hope, then someone else took her at the end. Hope wanted her father because she wanted to keep in contact with him, and because he hasn't spoken to her in over 7 years. Again, none of the Mikaelsons are seeing each other. Cole's off with Davina married, Marcel and Rebecca having their issues, and Elijah is in Paris. And Klaus, for the most part, is just killing off his enemies that are endless. So, the original season 5, episode 1 through 6 is just nothing but Klaus trying to figure out who kidnapped Hayley, which is entertaining, until we hit episode 5. And episode 5 is a moment where everything truly goes to shit. Now, the villains for original season 5. Let's start off back with Season 1 villain. Season 1, we had the different factions of witches, vampires, and werewolves that are against the original family. Very great, cool villains. Still is, to me, the best season, Season 1. Then Season 2 happened. Season 2, we got Esther and Michael both returning, along with Finn Mikaelson, and along with a long family member called Aunt Dahlia, who's played beautifully by Claudia Black. Now, for the others, in Season 3, we got the Trinity with Aurora, Tristan, and Lucian, the first vampires ever turned by the Mikaelsons themselves. And not to mention, there's a prophecy of who is the beast, of the Mikaelsons will fall one by friend, one by foe, and one by family. Great intriguing stuff for the third villain. Fourth season villain? Okay, fourth season, we got the Hollow. This ancient evil that's been before the ancestors of New Orleans, and they're the thing that created the werewolf curse. In Season 5, we have Greta and her brand of Nazi vampires. Or purist vampires who doesn't like to go out in the sun. We seriously got Nazi vampires for the final season of its lore. Why, for the love of God, have we getting Nazi vampires? What makes it more stupid? Greta's the one that stole Hayley. Greta stole Hayley away from Hope and from everybody else. The reason why they want Hayley dead is because she isn't. They don't accept deformities or hybrids, so they want to curse. Their arc for this villain is just basically they want to kill them off. They want to kill the Mikaelsons. They want to exterminate Hayley and the hybrids. At first, they lie and say, "Oh, you know what? We want them just to go back to the werewolf form. Curse them like Esther cursed the Klaus at the beginning." But their arc is just retarded. I'm sorry to say, the original Season 5 villains, we went from, again, the factions, the family Aunt Dahlia, to the Trinity, the first original vampires that returned. Season 4 to the Hollow, thing that created a werewolf curse, to Season 5 Nazi vampires. Does anyone have a problem with this? Then we have the most pissed off thing I ever seen. This is where I go with inconsistency. Klaus remembers Greta because here's the thing. Klaus remembers a time where he was exterminating Nazi vampires because they were exterminating werewolves in Nazi Germany or in France, and so he does not remember sparing Greta or her son. When Hayley was kidnapped, and since Greta is such a prominent figure in the vampire community and a leader, do you think Klaus will remember his enemies? Since we all know he's a paranoid character, he knows everybody by simple faces and looks. And I saw him meet Greta in another shot. Inconsistent writing is with this season. And then we got the other worst moment of this series. Hayley, who was introduced in season 1 and who's been kidnapped and missing since, not season 1, but episode 1 of season 5. We see her back in again, episode 6, and the thing is, though, she's killed off in this episode. So, for the next, 3 or 4 episodes, we're going to have to see the grief of Hayley. We're going to see our characters go through the grief of losing Hayley and acknowledging that she's dead. It was a mistake to kill her off. It was stupid. I do not agree with the ending. Especially since of the actual ending of we got with the originals. This episode 6 was just an atrocious thing. And before I go into further about what else also happened during this time, let's start off with the other things that are what's happening in the show. Now, for the beginning of Elijah Mikaelson in season 5, we learned that not only has he now that he lost his memories, now he's happy. He met a vampire woman in New York named Antoinette. I believe they fall in love. He's been with her for 3 years out of the 7. He starts getting engaged to her, and this is a brand new Elijah Mikaelson. He doesn't really care for his family no more. He doesn't have the memories, and Elijah Mikaelson is dead to him. He's a brand new Elijah. He loves going out into just appreciating the sunlight. He loves when his victims fear him truthfully, and when they ultimately accept their demise. He glorifies every single sunset. He loves the quiet of the night. He loves being in love. He loves being happy for himself, which I could dig, and do enjoy his character throughout. But then after Hayley's death, his memory, he compels Marcel to give him back his memories, and what we get is basically Elijah back in a suit, grieving for the loss of Hayley for most of the season, and not really having a place in this world anymore. But overall, it's a pretty satisfying arc with Elijah Mikaelson. Now let me just say some things before I move forward. The fact is, I did not buy the fact that Marcel compelled Elijah, but he only compelled him to go on a bus without any memory of him being a vampire, without any standard shit that he should know about. Does he need blood? Does he should feed some blood? Why didn't he just compel him? Hey, go to someplace that makes you happy. Paris. Simple. Said we got an arc with him just compelling Elijah to go on a bus. Inconsistent. It was also inconsistent. Remember when the Mikaelsons were under threat and when they lost someone? It said no time no more. We had to take care of the threat. They took care of him. After Hayley's death, you know what they do? They decided a little bit relationship drama with Raylan and Keelan, and why not for Mardi Gras? Still planning for Mardi Gras. And then they get attacked during the whole Mardi Gras celebration. Inconsistent writing with our characters. Our characters would never take a break if someone's immediately attacking their family after the death of a loved one. They knew that Greta was not alone, and yet they still think the threat was not over. It was retarded and it was stupid. Now let's go afterwards, what happened after the whole Nazi vampire arc, since there was no other threat. Hope, she decides to take all the energy from the Mikaelsons, all of the energies from the Hollow, and put inside her. Freya agrees to this because she's an idiot. And during that time, Hope is now dying. So the entire arc of Hope is dying is for the second, third act of this entire season. I would say it's great television if we didn't have the promotion of legacies hitting you 24/7. Hope is not going to die. I never felt threatened for her character because, above all, she was getting her own spin-off. So there was just no point for this tension to have Hope to have all this stuff of the Hollow inside her and it's killing her off. It's bad, consistent writing. It's just bad, consistent writing. And then it comes down to the final act. Klaus goes to Caroline. Yes, Caroline, I'll go into more about her and Klaus in this entire season. Klaus convinces Caroline for her kids to put the hollow out of hope and inside him so he could kill himself with it. So the entire thing is never mentioned why they don't put the magic of the hollow inside of anything else besides Klaus. Why not put it back so all four of them will be separated? So again, they get separated and Hope won't die. I'm pretty sure they rather have it all separated in between themselves, and so Hope or Klaus won't die. But no, it's bad, inconsistent writing. It was also inconsistent writing. The White Oak stake. Remember this whole thing in season 3 that they were all worried about the White Oak ever appearing? Apparently, 7 years. Apparently, after like 13 years later, Klaus admits to Caroline, "Hey, I had the White Oak for decades. I've been having it for a while now." He has a piece of White Oak. This completely ignores the season 3 arc with the Trinity. This is an atrocious piece of bad writing. This is an atrocious thing just to get an ending. Again, why does Klaus have the White Oak stick? Nobody knows. Why don't they put the hollow inside someone else? Inside Aurora? Nobody knows. And another thing, how come I know Vampire Season 8 brought their villains back? How come we didn't get one villain back? I know we can't have Michael and certain characters are dead, but Aurora's still around. Why didn't the Nazi vampires resurrect Aurora? I mean, she's under a sleeping spell. Clearly, the Nazi vampires have a witch on their side. Why not resurrect Aurora? Better yet, why not put the hollow inside Aurora and then kill her off? But no, that's what happens when I try to put logic into writing. And the originals has never been illogical. They've always been logical. They've always been great with lore. But this season has destroyed its lore. Don't bring back old characters like in Aurora. Don't know how to do a great ending for the Hollow arc. I mean, for the Hollow inside of Mikaelson in order to save both Klaus and Elijah and Hope at the same time. They're like, oh, then we'll go back to square one. I'd rather go back to square one being separated than to have Elijah and Klaus killed off. Fuck this season. Another thing. Fuck this season for what they did for Klaus and Caroline. Here's the thing. I gotta admit, I wasn't the biggest fan of Klaus and Caroline. Ever was in the Vampire Diaries. I enjoyed them together. I thought they were sweet. Then originals happened, and I like Klaus and Camille. Don't hate me, people. Don't hate me, Klaus and Caroline fans. But I realize now that Klaus and Caroline is like a nice taste of wine. It's a good old-fashioned wine. You let it stir a bit. You let it be for a bit, and then it's gonna come out great. That's how it was. I cannot not stand the fact that they brought Caroline back to tease all this stuff with Klaus. She's never ever gonna forget him, and yet he dies at the end. You don't bring a cake in front of people. You don't bring a cake in front of fans and say, "Oh look, we got them together," and then he dies. It's utter bullshit. It's utter crap. This was a terrible decision by the writers to kill Klaus. It was a terrible decision to even introduce Caroline. Don't introduce Caroline if you're not going to put them together. It's that simple. You play with the heartstrings of the fans, and it's god-awful, atrocious piece of shit writing. Fuck what they did for Klaus and Caroline. I love what they did together. I think they did a great job together. The two actors, actress, and actors, whatever you want to call them, they did a great job together. I love their scenes together, but the fact is that Klaus dies in the end. They don't get together. It's atrocious, abomination bullshit. Let's talk about everybody else's arc in this season. Freya and Keelan. Keelan breaks up with Freya because she believes Freya is spending too much time reflecting on her family instead of her moving forward as an individual, which is understandable. And she's been waiting for so long for Freya. Understandable. But they bring this relationship drama in, and then we all know they're going to get married and they're going to get together. Whoop-de-doo. That was their arc. Relationship drama. Marcel and Rebecca. Marcel proposed to Rebecca. She doesn't say yes or no. It's because she believes she's an unhappy person, and since she's going to live forever, she believes she's going to put Marcel down and make him not as happy as he used to be. That's their entire arc. Other than that, they're just here to help the main characters around. Their arc is atrocious. Compared to Marcel trying to forgive Klaus in Season 4. And let's talk about Vincent's character thing. He has a thing with a character named Ivy, a love interest. She dies. He just becomes a sperm donor to both Freya and Keelan. Vincent Griffin, the badass. Coming from his Season 4 arc where he technically let the Hollow loose into the world and then messed up his wife. This is a terrible arc for his character. Be here with a new girl named Ivy, fall in love and become a sperm donor. Thank you very much, original season 5. Thank you so fucking much for these character developments for all these side characters. Fuck you, original season 5. Another thing that is so terrible about the final season of the originals is this. They focus so much on Hope's relationship with a guy named Roman. And this is what I hate about this entire character, Roman. The entire arc for, and overall the original's final season, because they only focus on the spinoff. They're focusing on building off the spinoff Legacies. Legacies is about people who are living in a Salvatore house, some werewolves, some vampires, some witches, like a Savior School of the Gifted, and they have their backstories of their parents and whatnot, and whether they will be the heroes or villains of their stories. What better arc was it to have Hope with Roman? Roman, apparently, who still is considered a kid by Caroline, even though he's a 150-year-old vampire. You know what? I miss the days when vampires who were 150 didn't act like teenagers. I mean, it's one thing if he's a new baby vampire. Apparently, he's during the time during Nazi times, and yet he acts and looks like a fucking teenager. I hate that entire arc. That, oh, he's just a kid. No, he's not. He's a 150-year-old man. Stefan and Damon never looked like fucking high schoolers. They never acted. No one said, "Oh, stop it, kid." Now, going back to Hope and Roman. They focused so much on this because they wanted teenage Barbara drama. Hope's first love. Roman, influenced by Greta the mother, the person that killed Hayley. So he's the son of Nazi vampire sympathizers and all that stuff. So that's what he is. So now that they're dead, what's going to happen to him? Hope doesn't blame him for truly what happens, and she believes he can find redemption. More likely, spinoff. The entire dang season was nothing. It didn't establish no new lore. It's all about building up a spinoff for Hope Mikaelson, which I don't mind. But if we get teenage Barbara drama like this in this TV show, I mean, this for what we've seen, then I'm not gonna care for the next spinoff of the originals of the Vampire Diaries, because it's just gonna be the same old stick like Vampire Diaries, except not as interesting characters. And above all, Vampire Diaries was new for its lore. It was new, so when we saw it for the first time, we dealt with the teenage Bopper drama because we had a new lore. We had a new supernatural world to explore. This one, we're going through the romance with a supernatural world that we already know by hand, by a lot, and it's just not as new. It's not going to feel as fresh. This has been an atrocious piece of shit season of the originals. And the final season of originals was nothing but just to promote the new show spinoff of Hope's Mikaelson show Legacy. That's all it was. This final season. They didn't want to establish new lore. New characters were more than likely wasted. We got a terrible dang villain in Nazi vampires. Again, we had factions of supernatural creatures to long lost family to the first vampires ever turned by the originals to the hollow that created werewolf curse and Nazi vampires. We had more relationship dramas than any season compared to the originals. Freya and Keelan had the relationship drama. Marcel and Rebecca had their relationship drama. Everyone had relationship drama. You wasted Klaus and Caroline's freaking arc for them to get together just to kill Klaus off and Elijah with the white oak stake. Again, why does Klaus has the white oak stake? Completely ignores the season 3 arc. Why does they don't put the hollow back inside the original Fort Mikaelson siblings? They mentioned it. They said, oh, we'll go back to square one. So yeah, you rather have them all die. Okay, why not put the hollow inside Aurora? It will kill her off. It will let her die slowly. Then you could kill her off. Bring back Aurora for a bit. Why not? Seems fitting the Mikaelsons will cheat death once again. But no, they wanted this arc because they're like, oh, fuck logic. We don't want to do that. The person who made original season 5 completely ignored all the stuff of the originals, the past seasons. This season was very inconsistent, and unlike the Vampire Diaries season 8, the Vampire season 8 had actually an interesting villains with the sirens, with Cade, with Hell. You know, some of it was inconsistent, mind you. That is a way better season than the original season 5. This to me is a terrible season. I will never find this. This is like a bad made fan fiction for Julie Plec and whatever. I cannot stand the end of this entire final season of the originals. I do not establish this as lore. I'm erasing it. Klaus Mikaelson and Elijah Mikaelson did not die stabbing each other over a white gold stake that should never have been apart. They should not have died because, you know what? Klaus could get rid of the hollow and all that shit. But inside Aurora, nope, inconsistent writing. Bad writing. What can I say? I'm using logic. What the fuck am I doing? But seriously, what the hell did you all think of the original season 5? This season, in general, to me, is the worst. It will always be the worst. It's complete, utter shit. Some redeemable qualities, some great moments, but overall, this entire final season was utter shit to me. Let me know what y'all think of one. Subscribe if you like. The screen out of link comment down below. Let me know. Respect my opinion, respect yours. I'm coming on under 20 minutes, everybody. Let me know what y'all think of one. Named Jalise, thank God for everybody. Bye bye.